How does he? Peyton won 4 division titles in his 4 years there. Peyton won a Super Bowl and went to 2, won 1, and was an MVP through 37 touchdowns, 55 touchdowns, and through 39 touchdowns. So how, after only getting to the Super Bowl, is Tom Brady #1? I would say Drew Brees, considering what Skip. Drew Brees, the Saints, Skip, you remember the Saints were bad. They were the original team that put the brown paper bags over their face and called themselves the Aints. And he took a perennial loser and made them what they are today. And so now, since Drew Brees has been there for the better part of, got there in 2005? 2006, 2006? I think 2006 he first got there. They've been talked about and always, okay, Super Bowl contender. And as Jenny mentioned, time. He was a free agent 1 year, signed with San Francisco. They won Deion Sanders.
Yep.
He signed with the 49ers, Skip, in 94. They win the title. The Cowboys says, you know what? We don't want to go up against him. We go sign him. We go steal him away from you guys. And then he go win another title. Reggie White also, he was the first big free agent. That was when free agency first hit in 93. He was the first big-time guy to move. So, Skip, no.
By the way, not only did he move, but he chose Green Bay, where nobody wanted to go before that.
Nobody wanted to go.
And it opened the door. If Reggie's going, I'll go.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. Because at that point in time, Skip, there's nobody going to Green Bay. If Reggie, I'm not so sure, Skip, Green Bay is the Green Bay that we know today. Had Reggie not done that.
I mean, obviously, back in the 60s, they were Lombardi's Packers, but to rebound and become what they were with Favre, and obviously they were able to trade for Favre because Atlanta was done with him after a year because he was having off-field issues.
He spent too much time in Buckhead instead of Swanee.
Yep, that's well said. So I hear what you say about Peyton and Drew Brees, and I was right in the middle of the Deion Sanders. Okay, let me address Deion first. That's the all-timer where you go from one team to the other and you go from Super Bowl to Super Bowl. My issue with it in the biggest picture is those were by far the 2 best teams of the day. Dallas and San Francisco. Because the year before Deion, Dallas had beaten San Francisco in the NFC Championship game. It was the Memorial. Jimmy Johnson calls the radio station to tell him, well, I guarantee the victory. And won that game 38-21, and then went on to the Super Bowl and just crushed Buffalo. It was a close game for a half, but then they crushed them 30-13. Emmett just took the game over, okay? So it was clear Dallas was already the best team. So then Deion goes to San Francisco, and all of a sudden, Steve Young and company break through against the Cowboys. They got the game at Candlestick, Emmett had a pulled hamstring, and he was about half Emmett in that game. But they went on from that game to just crush San Diego in the Super Bowl 49-26.
Well, you knew whoever came out of that game was going to crush San Diego.
Crush San Diego. So my point is, Deion became, to me, the cherry on top of 2 very good teams. Then he goes the next year to Dallas, and they avoided San Francisco because Green Bay knocked them off. Remember that? And then Dallas goes to the Super Bowl and gets to play Pittsburgh and Neil O'Donnell. He just wasn't very good, the truth was. And Larry Brown is the MVP of the game because he intercepts Neil O'Donnell. Returned one for a touch. I think he got him 3 times. So he's the MVP. Okay, so my point is, Deion changed the fate of both teams, but they were both really good to start with. And it was just going to be cherry on top. Who's the cherry on top? Well, it's Deion, and it's Deion. And I got to bring this up because it sticks in my craw. He won't like me saying this because I love prime time, but in that NFC Championship game, that first year after the 94 season at Candlestick, in the mud at Candlestick, Dallas is behind 21-0, storms back thanks to Michael Irvin, who'd had the game of his life with Deion taking him man-to-man. It was the greatest individual battle I've ever witnessed on a football field. I told you, if I had to pay for one game in my life to go back and be a part of it, if I could jump in the time machine, I would want to go watch that one again. Except Deion gets away with the move of the year. It saved the game because Dallas was about to get right back in the game. And here's a deep throw in the 4th quarter to Michael Irvin. And this is all-time interference. Is that not armbar interference?
Yeah, but see what Ty did? Ty looking for the ball.
Where's the ball?
He stumbled. He stumbled.
And he only ran 4.2, so he got.
So that's what saved it.
Okay.
You see, at the last second he looked back for the ball, but Ty knew what he was doing. And people don't realize Skip time or Deion is left-handed, so that's his dominant hand.
That's true. That's a good point. Very good point, actually. And Troy Aikman, a lot of people said he couldn't throw the deep ball, but he threw that one right on the button, and it's about to be 38-35 at that point.
How your pants so clean?
Yeah, good question. Good question. And the ref keeps the flag in his pocket, and first-year head coach Barry Switzer bolts out onto the field screaming bloody murder, and they throw flags at him like crazy, and they get they don't get the penalty. They don't get the pass. They go backwards 15 yards, and all of a sudden it goes from 2nd and 10 at the 49-43 to 3rd and 25, and then Troy ends up getting sacked on 4th down, and that was the game on that play. So, again, I'm going to slightly disqualify primetime on his impact.
Okay.
Again, Peyton took over a team that Tebow had obviously taken to the division title and won a playoff game against Roethlisberger. Drew Brees, it took a little while for him to settle in and get going, but how can you discount that Brady walks in the door with a team that's 7-9,
loaded
in a pandemic, but they're 7-9.
Yeah, but they're loaded, Skip.
The Buccaneers haven't gone to the playoffs in forever, right? What was it like? What
2014 years?
It's I was going to say 15 years, but
2006, 2007,
and obviously it's back to the 2002 season since they won a Super Bowl, and he in the pandemic. He turns them right around and takes them to the Super Bowl that is scheduled to be played in your home stadium. And all he wants is 25. It was 25 and 25, right?
Right.
So 2 years at 25 million is the all-time bargain to me.
Okay, it's a bargain, but Skip, you said, but see, you said 70. I mean, you keep saying the Buccaneers. Skip, yes, I understand, but they're not the Buccaneers of 1976 that's just coming into the league and they'll have no talent. Okay. They're loaded.
Okay, but they're loaded without direction, without guidance, without culture. They don't have a winning culture. They were a losing football team because they led the league in turnovers and penalties the year before, and all of a sudden, he obviously cleaned that up, and he, as I always say, he installed the Patriot way in Tampa Bay. He did. He taught that whole franchise how to win, and he did it on the fly and got them to a Super Bowl in the first year.
Yes.
Okay? Well, Peyton's team was loaded too.
Yes.
So it was easier for Peyton to flip the switch there. I just didn't think Peyton could physically stand up.
Right.
That was a bargain because nobody thought he could do it anymore, right?
Yeah.
He basically knocked on your door.
Yes.
So did Brady. I mean, I give you that.
But
Brady saw the potential, but he realized, he helped it realize its potential.
Yeah, and think about it. Look at what Peyton did for Demaryius Thomas.
Yeah.
What he did for Eric Decker. Got Eric Decker paid. Julius Thomas became the highest paid tight end. Demaryius Thomas became one of the 2 highest paid wide receivers. He made a lot of people wealthy on the offensive side that we would not have been household names. Look, it's gonna, when it's all said and done, you're probably going to be looking at the greatest 2 free agent signings, probably Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. Drew Brees is in that mix because what he did for
it was more long term.
Right.
It took a little while for it to take off, but once it took off, it really took off.
Because when he got there, Skip, what they got, they had the second pick of the draft, so they got Reggie. So it took Sean Payton a while to build. He didn't have the pieces already in place.
They got Reggie Bush.
Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
They didn't have the pieces already in place like Tampa. Tom just came in. He's like, man, I got some great ingredients here. I just don't got to mess this up. Same thing with Peyton. Man, y'all got 2 receivers, a tight end, a first-round draft pick at running back.
Wait, you got Von Miller rushing the passer? Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
You had Malik Jackson and Derek Wolfe. You had Chris Harris Jr. They ended up signing Aqib Talib.
They did.
They brought in a T.J. Ward. Yeah. So they added some. But, Skip, they were just like Tom. And Tom realized this. As you said, he surveyed the land. Now, where can I go that they don't have a QB entrenched that I could go in and possibly replace, that they got talent? The same thing with Peyton. So Peyton's like, hold on, where can I go that quarterback's not entrenched? Denver.
Okay, but the one slight advantage Peyton had, is that they did win the division the year before, and they won a playoff game against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they were 8-8.
Okay, but they
By
did
default.
it. At least it felt, you knew how it felt to storm back.
Not very
and win
many
the division.
teams can lose the last 4 games, last 3 games, and still win a division.
Well, they did, thanks to Tim Tebow. It was Tebow magic. I've never seen